Good morning, all. Let's take a look at what we have for the market today. So let's start with the fundamental outlook and possibly some news. So today we have today is 15th day of February, and we have a few news coming up. The first news was sorry about that. Was around 1:15. The speech by the Bank of Australia. Then we have the 1-year MLFF announcement. We'll take a look at that as well. Even though it's low impact, I think it's also very important for JPY pair. Okay, so then later today, which is not far away, we have it's already 7:30, around 8 o'clock Nigerian time. We'll be having inflation rate for the pound. Also, their core inflation rates. Okay, so the projecting previous was 10.5%, 10.3% is the projection. So the projecting a fall. Same with the core inflation. 6.3 was the previous. 6.2 is their forecast. Okay, then a few low impact is on the euro, but I think we have one high impact by 9 a.m. Nigerian time with GMT +1. We have 109.9. The forecasting a fall to 109.6. Okay, so that is by 9. Then later in the day, we'll be looking at some retail sales for the dollar. Okay, so a quick one for yesterday. Our analysis was kind of correct. Dollar was weak throughout the day before the news, and during the news, it gained some strength as forecasted. But if you look at the data critically, we will discover that even though the forecast were way above the actual were way above the forecast, they discover that they are still below the previous month, December. So for the inflation rate, December was 6.5%. Even though forecast was 6.2 and the actual came out at 6.4, we'll notice that that it's also down from 6.5 to 6.4. So inflation is gradually coming down in the US. So I don't see much strength on the dollar. Instead, I might expect to find the buy, since that it was higher than the forecast. The buy might still want to continue and linger on a little till the next retail sales. So the retail sales give us more direction. Okay, although the market was really choppy yesterday, I don't think we would have been able to take advantage. All right, so that said, let's take a look at the few news that came out today on the Bank of Australia, as well as the People's Bank of China. So we have, the 1-year MLFF interest unchanged. So the People's Bank of China kept the 1-year MLF interest rate unchanged at 2.75%, and the 1-year medium-term lending facility volume at February to be 499 billion. They actually estimated forecasted 500 billion to come out, but the period was 779 billion. Okay, so fine. Okay, let me just finish. There's been no reaction on the USD CHN in recent days. Today, the People's Bank of China said the yuan at 6.81. Estimate was 6.8191, but the last was 6.83. So from these news, and first of all, when you are decreasing, for those of us who are bankers, when you are reducing your lending facility, it means you're trying to make currency scarce. And when there's scarcity of the currency, it actually increases the currency strength. So for me, the China yen is strengthening. So automatically, the Japanese yen should also strengthen alongside. All right, so today for me, since we don't have the CHN on the chart, I might be buying the JPY. Okay, so I want to say buy on the JPY. So for me today, JPY is strong. JPY is strong. Coupled with their exchange rate. Now they completely control their exchange rate. So the previous exchange rate was 6.83. That was the close. They're estimating a drop at 6.81, but they actually set it at 6.8183. Meaning you can't go and do that outside the exchange rate. So they're forecasting dollar to drop and the Japanese yen to strengthening. So JPY for me currently is strong. Okay, yeah, the same news here. The China maintains strict control of the yen rate on the mainland. Onshore yen differs from offshore one in trading restriction. This last one is not as tightly controlled. Each morning, the People's Bank of China set a so-called daily midpoint fix based on the yen previous day close level and quotation from the intraday bank dealers. So in the trade today, they set the yen at 6.8. Okay, so for me, this news makes the dollar to be strong. And mind you, they're also trying to. The Prime Minister said that he's crossing the wire, and I said that the appointment of Yuda as the new Bank of Japan governor was made after considering the market impact. Okay, so they also elected a new governor for their bank. I think that's positive news as well for the Japanese. So you expect the new governor to keep appropriate monetary policy, taking into account the economy, inflation, and market consideration. So he also said that the new governor, is a great person to lead the Bank of Japan because he's well-known economists around the world. So based on the news today, all this came out in the night. Okay, based on the news today, I still see the Japanese yen coming up. Then this was the comments by the Reserve Bank of Australia Governor Philip Lowe said that inflation is way too high and that needs to come down. Okay, recall I said previously in one of our classes that if inflation is high, it's good for currency. If it's coming down, it means the currency will have to do some retracement. So technically and fundamentally, I see AUD as weak. AUD as weak. All right, so just going to the chart alone, today I might want to be selling the AUD pair. So the current monetary policy stance is restrictive. Government fiscal policy is broadly neutral, and there's a risk. The Bank of Australia hasn't done enough with rates. So it is not our objective to send the economy into recession. We'll no longer have launch meetings before SOMPP. If CPI expectations anchored can stay on narrow path, if wages outcomes stay reasonable, could see a fairly soft landing. All right, so the new wage agreement this year higher, bit lower next year. If we are going about the wage price spiral, the cost will be quite significant. So the Q4 inflation result demonstrated solid domestic demand. We are still unsure how far rates can go. Rates has not yet reached its peak. So they are still trying to increase interest rate though, but for me, it sounded more dovish than hawkish. So I want to be looking at my pairs today. I want to be looking at the sell side for the Japanese yen. So first on my radar is AUD JPY. It's still dropping. AUD JPY is already dropping nicely, actually. AUD JPY is already dropping nicely. So my next two best pairs, based on the fundamentals, would be GJ sell and EJ sell. But now for GJ sell to become more valid, we'll have to wait for their release of the news today, okay, which is just going to be 8 o'clock. So all of these news, their core inflation rate and inflation rate will have to come out negative. Then GJ will be a very good sell today. And by 9 o'clock, once Euro JPY also brings out their own CPI in it and it comes out negative, Euro JPY will also be a very good sell. But AUD JPY is already on the run, okay, alongside NZD JPY. So because these are actually Asian section pairs. So automatically AED/JPY is selling, NZUSD is selling, NZD/JPY is selling. All right, today I'm looking critically at the dollar. I think the dollar is on H4. If you look carefully, it's actually on a range. The market is quietly ranging. Like I said, I want to see the market dollar is still within a buy. For me, in this range now is an uptrend. So we want to hit the top of the range again, which is around 1.03.9. Okay, and before if the news now comes out against the dollar, before I can now take a look at either buying or selling the dollar again. But for now, I'm going to stay out. So I'm waiting for the sell side of my GJ, waiting for the sell side of my to sell my GBP/JPY. The news is just in 45 minutes time. Then by 9 a.m. we'll also look for the sell side of EUR/JPY. Okay. So any questions so far? Okay, I'm going to stop recording now. Then we can now start our normal discussions.